Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be talking to you about pitch decks. Uh, I look at pitch decks all day long. Sometimes I wake up in bed and I'm reading a pitch deck on my phone. That's how much I get obsessed with it. So, as Jair mentioned, I do, in fact, uh, have seen every template there is, from Sequoia to Andreessen Horowitz to ones Techstars has made. Um, and then on top of that, I have seen more pitch decks, I think, than anyone else in the world. So this is why I created a pitch deck template. It's there to help you um, navigate, right? Figure out exactly what you need to do. I'm going to give you a little bit more. So if you start following me now on this pitch deck on the Miro, I will talk to you a little bit about me. So I was on the founding team of a dating app. We built a really good company and then sold that off to HubSpot. So I had an incredible time doing that. Before that, I was always in consulting and marketing. And then after the acquisition, I became on the investment side. So leading a team of 6 people, helping companies get found by Techstars and invest in them. So, about 600 investments we make per year. So absolutely excited to tell you more about Techstars a little bit later if you want to. And so first I was a founder, then I was a funder, and then I always just like to say, I wonder what I'll do next. I just don't know yet, but in the meantime, I'm having a lot of fun and I'm going to keep doing it until I get bored. And so the agenda for today, overview of what you're going to get. So there'll be an icebreaker. We're going to have some fun. Hopefully get out of your seat or have a bit of a laugh. I'm going to then show you the 12 slides that I think every pitch deck should have. And then by the end of it, if you're like, man, this is too easy, I'm going to give you pro tips. And then we're going to do some pitch practice in between. And I'm going to teach you about the different types of pitches and stuff like that. So I really hope this is helpful for you all. But again, please provide feedback all the way through. So question for you, first of all, what is your favorite big tech company? Write it in Miro for me right now. Yell it out by replying there. So let's see what we're getting. Yep, good. Apple, oh, that's always the first one. It's so funny. I always get Apple the first time. Tesla, okay. Airbnb, all right, cool. So this is icebreaker mode. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pick 2 people that raise a hand here, or that I can see on their thing. All right, so Simon Fossum. No, he hasn't written anything yet. Too slow. Oh, look how many people there are. You guys are awesome. This is going to be so much fun. Okay. Jair, are you going to help me choose one person to pick on to do a
yeah,
pitch?
for sure. Let's start with my good friend Mo.
Mo. Okay, Mo. My friend, you have 30 seconds to pitch Apple to us out loud on Zoom. But if I pause you, you will have to stop. And then Megan Kensington's going to take over, continuing from where you started. Okay. So Megan, are you ready as well? And unmute if you need. Mo, pitch us Apple for investment.
Oh, welcome. So I'd like to talk about the company Apple, who's helping reinvent communication with your family and reinvent the way you look at technology today. We do this today by...
Pause. Okay, Megan, continue. We do this today by...
making technology simple, beautiful, and fun to use through our devices and easy to access platforms. And we continue to innovate, not based on trends, but on what people actually want and need in their daily lives.
Okay, good. Guys, that was pretty good. I almost felt like this was Steve Jobs' original ad or promotion from the start. So thank you for taking part. Okay, I'm going to choose another person. Jair, help me find one more person to do this. And we're going to pick the other one that we see a lot. Miro. Okay, great. Let's do Miro.
Yeah, let's choose somebody that... Wait. I don't see the names. Wait, I just recognized.
Yeah, I found one. I found
Okay.
one, and someone can continue. Alyssa McDonald can start to pitch Miro, and then who's going to take over from there? You choose that second one.
Yeah, let's do then. I can see the names here. Daniel Moran, can you take over?
All right, perfect. Alyssa, take it away. Pitch Miro to us in 30 seconds.
Okay, traditionally collaboration happens in person over a desk and a bunch of paper and pencils, and Miro brings users together to collaborate from all over the planet using their technology to centralize communication.
Pause at 2. Okay, Mo, keep going. 2 what? Oh, sorry, Daniel.
Oh,
We
maybe
still got you, Daniel?
Mhm.
Yep.
I think we don't have Daniel here.
Oh, we don't have that. Okay. Either way, that was a pretty good job, Alyssa. Thank you so much. So what I want to just close out on this part here, right? Look, it's really easy for me to come up with a company name, or for you to come up with a company name, and then for people to pitch it. It's because you know it so well. I heard the word human. I heard the word family. I heard the word connection. I didn't hear anything about a financial model, a technology stack. I didn't see anything around stuff that doesn't get used in everyday language. So when you're thinking about pitching your startup, pitch it the way that Alyssa did with Miro, the way that the other two did for Apple, right? Talk about the benefits that you get, not the features. I didn't hear about the megahertz of the computers. I didn't hear about the tech stack that Miro's on. And so it's really, really important to do that. And it's always well demonstrated when you do that with a big tech company, okay? Or even Canva, whatever you want to talk about, realize that how you're pitching your favorite software tools to your friends, that's how you should be pitching your company. So there's 3 types of pitches, right? We kind of did a common pitch, which is what I call the clear pitch 42. You can check out that website if you ever want, and there's a template there of what to include in a 40-second pitch, okay? Then you have a 15-second elevator pitch. Literally, you're at a networking event, you're in an elevator or something like that, and people want to learn a little bit more about your company. And so that's another one. And then you have the 4 to 5 minute investor pitch, okay? Hold on, I'm following Jair. How do I unfollow you?
Yes, I follow you now.
Okay, cool, got it. I'm like slowly getting away. I love this tool. And then the one we're going to cover today is a 4 to 5 minute investor pitch, okay? It's where an investor says, hey, let's talk for 30 minutes. I want you to pitch to me, and then we'll have a conversation around it, okay? It is really important to know your audience. This is not a sales pitch that I'm teaching you. This is not a hiring pitch that I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you about the investor pitch today. And this can change. Sometimes it's a pitch that you do on demo day. It's sometimes 6 minutes, but the point is it's about a 5-minute pitch to present the opportunity to the people. So it's really important to know your audience. The 3 goals on any pitch, honestly, is entertain, so it's memorable, inform, so they can make a decision, and then progress to the next stage. People always forget that. They think that they're going to email a pitch deck and someone's going to write a check for them at the end of the day. It doesn't work like that, okay? You have to just progress to the next stage of that. So if I board you, right, we'll go from 50 people down to 30 people. Or if it's going good, you'll invite your friends, say, hey, come along, this is great. Or an investor will go, you know what, I'd love to bring in my partner. Let's get the next meeting on the books. So your goal is to entertain, inform, and progress. The biggest tip I can give you around early stage startup is demo wherever you can in this order. If you have it, hold it up. Don't try and describe it. Just go, this is what it looks like. I would like for you to buy this, right? If you can't hold it up, then show it. Here's a photo of it, right? And then if you can't, then describe it. Whether it's software, hardware, showing it is always the best answer. Now, to make sure I still got you all, what is your biggest competition? So when you're pitching, what is your biggest thing that's going to get in your way? Use the stickies to give me your answer.
If you never used Miro before, you can just press also N on your keyboard and you will get a sticky. And there are also some stickies that I put above the frame.
Yep. Good. Arthur's wrote boring. Agreed. That's one. That's not the biggest one. Cutting extra info. Yes. Love it, Megan. Thank you. What else? Confidence. Yes. I love it. Okay, cool. So everyone's going around the content, expertise, confidence. Okay, cool. I'm going to tell you, and look at the Zoom for a second. This is what your biggest competition is. Their phone. It's my phone. If I bore you, I'm looking on my phone. I'm starting to swipe Instagram. I'm going to get on Tinder. I'm going to start looking on LinkedIn posts. Your goal is to keep the attention of people by being high energy, exciting, and engaged, right? When I yell at Arthur's name, he's going to go, oh, wait, you're talking to me, right? Tanya Abdul's been here from the start. She may be not paying attention, but now she's knowing I'm talking about her. You have to keep people engaged, and your biggest competition is their phone. Okay, so keep them off the phone. All right, so now the 12 slides, right? This is what the first page or the first thing you say during the pitch should come out. Whenever I start this, I say, guys, you suck at pitching. All right, my name is Sabo Krim, and today I'm going to teach you about how to create the best pitch deck. Thank you, Miro, for having me here, right? Figure out what you can say that works, that grabs attention, that's interesting, that contradicts conventional wisdom, maybe makes them laugh, plays on a known fear, or be different. So I'll give you another example. Then I want you guys to give me what is something that you will do that grabs attention at the start. And this, again, doesn't have to be on a slide, but give me an idea of it. So when I was working for and co-founded Ori, a public speaking app, what we used to tell people was people are more scared of public speaking than being eaten by a shark. Hi, today I'm going to teach you about Ori, an app that helps you be a better public speaker by using AI. Okay, so what is it that you're going to do to grab attention about your company? Go ahead and write it here above the section. Take a couple minutes, figure it out, brainstorm. You can write in multiple ideas if you would like. That's totally fine.
I will put 2.5 minutes. Is that good, Saba?
2 minutes is good. You have to know this because you know what? Later ones we're going to spend more time. But this one is how do you get someone's attention?
Cool. So for the people that don't know where it is, above the slide, grab attention, there is a place where you can write on a sticky and you can give an example of how you would be grabbing attention.
And just talking through these a little bit more again, right? So maybe you want to make someone laugh, right? It could be a joke that you've said in person. Usually when I do a public speaking event, I say, I know you're probably all wondering where this accent's from. It's from the South. I'm from Alabama. No, I'm not. Are you idiot? Are you joking? I'm from Australia. What were you thinking? All right, everyone, I'm excited to talk to you today. Right, so figure out what works and how to grab attention because you're just trying to get people to look up from their phone and go, hey, what's up? So what I'm reading is templates. Don't give me templates. Give me what you would actually write. So shocking statistic is the right answer, but give me an example of your own shocking statistics that relates to your business. Sorry, I might have misspoken here, right? So all of you, write down the one thing that you can write that grabs attention relating to your business. There we go. Here's a good one. Transacting with crypto is dog dirt. I'm here to fix that. That's pretty funny. It's very in your face too. Good. Got 30 seconds. Do a few more. What grabs attention? All right, folks. Only 29% of teachers are highly satisfied with current professional development offerings. That's pretty good. I'm interested. I want to learn more, right? Thank you so much. What else do we have here? Imagine a museum where you learn about yourself. Amazing. I want to learn more about that. That's got my attention. Backstory of how you struggled with your studies. Cool. Great. So talk about it. Maybe show a photo at this point, right? I got kicked out of school 7 times, but this is why I created X company. So you guys are all on the right track. I'm not reading anyone's direct answers. That's not interesting. I'll check one more here. Watching professional development in a windowless room with only a bucket of mints to eat. That's quite funny. I don't know if anyone saw that here in the pink top right-hand corner, but this is it. You are just grabbing attention. It can relate to the business. It doesn't have to, but you're just getting the attention to get started on this story. So let's go back. So you grab attention on the opening slide. You then want to talk about you, not just who you are, not just what you do, but why should I believe you? So as I said earlier, I'm Sabakrim. I see more pitch decks than anyone else in the world. And that's why I'm qualified to talk to you a little bit more about pitch decks. Talk about the school you went to, or talk about the school you dropped out of, or the fact that you've never been to school, right? Really hone in about who you are and how this story, and pitch decks aren't a business plan, they're a story. Talk about who the main person is in the story, okay? People and Techstars and VCs, we invest in teams, okay? And so you want to get that off to the right foot to talk about who you are and why you're so awesome. Then you move over to the next slide, and then you're talking about the team itself. Have you at least convinced one other person to join you on this journey? How long have you known each other? What this is answering for people is that there's enough people here that's going to create something amazing, okay? Usually when I see a photo early on with the team, it shows that they care a lot about the team. I see that there's a following, whether it's an advisor, whether it's an employee, or an intern, or co-founder, whatever it might be. I'm not saying you need to have another founder. I'm just saying you have to show us that you've had other people join you. And we're trying to figure out, okay, you're going to be working on this together for 5 years from now. And so that's a question that's really being answered, right? Again, logos help, where you worked help before, how you hacked getting into the Kanye West concert for the last 10 years helps. Just figure out how to show that you're an awesome person, an awesome entrepreneur, a rule breaker, whatever you want. You know, often when I see pictures, they often tell you what they do, but they forget to tell you who the target audience is. So think about the example around Tinder. Imagine I said Tinder is for everyone. It doesn't work like that. You have to say Tinder is for single people that want to go on dates or get into a relationship. Maybe not so much the latter, but I'll let you figure that out. So really define who your target audience is, because I often get a pitch and at the end I'm like, wait, but who's this actually for? Can you help me understand that? So don't miss it. So go ahead, 1 minute above this star, I want you to write in who is your target audience, and I'll tell you if it's not defined enough. So this is where I'm going to start finding more gaps, because people think that this was specific, but it wasn't specific enough, okay? So Jair, put on a minute on the clock. Who is your target audience that you want to consume your product or buy your product? All right, good job. Let's read these. So I set you guys up for a little bit of a trap here, but this is why we're learning. So pharmaceutical drug manufacturers and pharma R&D labs. So this is a really good start. What I want you to do is break down who at this company is going to be using it. It's like saying, I'm going to go after CPG companies to sell them something, but I want to know who there is going to be the end user, who's going to be interested in it. So define that a little bit further. Blood clot survivors in hospitals. Let's pick on this a bit more. I want to know which location. Are you helping those in India? Or are you helping those in Iowa? Or is it across all of US? So when you're talking about your target audience, be really clear. Tinder is a dating app that's for single people, that's targeting highly saturated metropolitan cities across the US to start with. Be really, really clear. Rahul, founders, entrepreneurs, investors. This is hard. There are so many different, there's a big difference between the Miro CEO who's worth $1 billion versus someone that's on here that might be first-time entrepreneur. So this is way too broad. You have to define the target audience in a clear way for me to know almost exactly who this person is just by looking at it. CHROs and directors of talent acquisition at Fortune 500 company. This is pretty solid. Well done to whoever did this one here. It tells me the role and the company, and it gives me kind of the location because I believe that's US focused. So that's pretty tailored. So with your target audience, again, who are you going after? Who will use this? Who's paying for it? Define that, and then we go to the next slide. And then we talk about what problem we are solving for them. If you don't know how to explain this in a short amount of words, then you have failed. Have a look at the Albert Einstein quote here. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Okay? You have to use plain English, no jargon. Imagine when I talked to you about Ori, I said, Ori is an AR-powered app for iOS that uses Watson, built on Flutter, that lets you get better. What does that even mean, Saba? Hey, Ori is a public speaking app that gives you more confidence. Oh, sweet. That's really cool. So figure out what problem you're solving, be clear, and then talk about the solution. They're two different things. People kind of build them into one. Let's continue with this Tinder theme. And by the way, that's totally random. I don't usually have that as my example, but it came up. Tinder. The problem it solves is finding people to go on dates with. The problem that it solves is meeting new people. The solution is a mobile app that you can access from anywhere in the world. Okay? It's that simple. So this so far has covered the core. So let's zoom out a little bit and just look at this for a second. We have now covered who you are, who your team is, what your target audience is, what problem you're solving, and the solution. Okay? If you nail this and you're on the right foot, so we'll move on to the next core. What is a product lineup? Is it just an app or multiple products that fit together? Right? Think about it as a development roadmap. So I want to see what you have built, what is next, and what is the grand vision. So Uber. Uber is an app that lets you get from A to B. Great. What else are you going to do? Oh, we're going to deliver food to people too. Okay. What's the grand vision? Our grand vision is to deliver everything across the world, where if a device or an item needs to be in another place, we're the ones that are going to make it happen, whether it's alcohol or medicine or food or drinks, right? This, I think, is a hidden gem for investors, okay? It's easy to kind of be like, hey, this is a company that we have. Here's a problem we solve for which product that we've created. But what's not always very clear is the future, right? Think about it in terms of what you do now and what the grand vision looks like and how you're going to get there, connecting those dots. Think of it as a diagonal. So it's really important, and we can workshop this a little bit later to really hone into, okay? But it's important to talk about all the things you're going to do. When we pitched Lorem at Techstars Demo Day a couple of years ago, we didn't just say, hey, we're a Uber-like marketplace for people to get their website fixed, for people that use Squarespace. That was just the first tab. Then he said, we're going to do the same thing for HubSpot and WordPress and Webflow and everything else. So talk about what you do now and what you're going to do in the future. All right, let's talk about the market. What I want to know as an investor is, have you figured out how many people experience this problem? Okay, that's the TAM, the SAM, and the SOM. So let me give you a really silly example that I always give. Imagine that I said I have a solution that is for dog owners. Okay, let's just say that number's 10 million in the US. Now, imagine I said this is for people that have a Dalmatian dog. How many people have a Dalmatian in the US? Right, that number went from 10 million to maybe, let's just say 1,000. That means you're going to have to sell a lot of things to this group, which is fine. The market size doesn't have to be big, but the point is you need to figure out how many of them there are. So how many other people experience this issue, or how many other people would be interested in this service? That's how we talk about market. And the other thing about market is it the right time? Right? Think of all the cities you've been to recently and you notice all the scooters on the ground. That's kind of messy. There's a lot of car accidents and scooter accidents that happen because of that. Wow, wouldn't it be a great time to have an insurance platform because of this recent surge? So market is talking about the size and the trends. Okay. You're launching a Web3 company. Great. That's pretty on brand. That's pretty trendy right now. It might be forever. So you want to figure out how to communicate that. So there's often a slide that I see which says why now on top of it. If that why now could have applied 2 years ago or could apply in 2 years, then you've missed it. You have to talk about why this is so important right now, or why it's going to be important in 2 years to show us that trend. So I only want to see numbers. Use the stickies above. What is the total addressable market for your product or service in the next 60 seconds? Give me a number. And I'm going to call up some of you to talk about it. Once you've done it, please go back to your sticky note so I can see who wrote it, and I'm going to ask you about it. So hover over your own sticky note. All right, awesome. All right, Tanya, I'm going to go with you first. What does tens of millions mean? Tell me about this market size of yours.
It means the number of people that we would visit our in-person museums, plus the people who would engage with our online content.
Okay. So it's tens of millions, 10 million, or is it 90 million?
Somewhere, oh, good question.
So that number's too broad, right? Like, I want to know exactly how many people have a Dalmatian dog in the US so I can target them. So you have to know how many people visit museums now, every year, existing museums, for you to then go, we're going to try and get the same amount. So tens of millions shows that, in my opinion, and we're just illustrating that you don't know that answer, and you have to know that almost that exact number, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk to Daniel here. In India, 20 million users own a mobile under age of 25. So it tells me how many people there are. Okay, that's pretty good. What I don't get is this some of these other ones, and I want to try and understand this a bit more. So Brett, tell me, TAM, 132 billion. What does that mean?
It's broken into 3 components below. So we kind of work in 2 markets, staffing and then recruiting. And
So how many people is this though? This is amount spent,
yes,
but
by
that
the
doesn't,
US, spent
right.
in the US for IT.
Yeah. But how many people are there?
Oh, I don't actually know that number. I must have
So like,
I might have misheard your question of number
No,
of
no,
people.
no. No. So what I'm just trying to get at is when I see these big numbers on a pitch deck, I'm just trying to understand the plain, simple language around this, right? Explain to me without using any jargon, how many people this will touch or affect. Like,
I would
I don't know.
assume there's a few 100,000, well, probably more than that,
Yeah.
few million IT service, third-party service,
Yeah.
onshore.
Yeah. Again, I'll go back to the core of it for everyone. This is hard to understand, and it sounds like it's the right thing to do because investors in the past have said, I want to see a $1 trillion business or $1 billion business. But I encourage you all to just keep it simple. How many other people experience this issue? All I want to know is that this is going to make money one day.
Got it. So I would say that
you need, yeah.
sorry. I would just say
Yeah.
that it's Fortune 500s who outsource IT services. So
Great. Now I've got a target of 500 companies that you could potentially be going for. Like really break it down and go, how do I explain this? When we see the billion or the TAM, it often, if you do it right, it's fine. But often people don't do it right. They just put in a number because they found it online based on some research, and it kind of just makes things harder. Okay, so really important to figure that out. Let me see here. 18 billion and growing. Hold on, I need to plug in my charger. Sorry. Where did it go? Sorry about that, folks. So I've got here 18 billion and growing protein and antibody-based drug market. Again, I don't know how many people could potentially be using this. So break it down. Let's use another example. If I was talking about ORI right now, right? There are 20 million people in the US that are studying at any point. I'm making these numbers up, but just to show you the thinking around it. There are 20 million people in the US that are studying. 10% of them are English as a second language. So I could be targeting potentially 2 million people to use my app ORI, a public speaking app that helps you be a better public speaker. I just need to make X amount of dollars from 2 million people that will help me become make $1 billion. Well, like figure out in plain English exactly how many people that you're targeting. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Traction. Fill it out for me. What is traction to you? You can either write your traction if you want, or you can go ahead and talk about what a form of traction is. We'll give you 60 seconds for this one. Yeah.
You can just write your name behind it, and we know from who it came.
Yeah. Users, LOIs, revenue. Yes, perfect. YouTube channel with 7x. Okay. This is great. You guys are making all the perfect mistakes that I want you to, so I can pick on you. You're going to love the roast that we do in a little bit then. And I forgot to say at the start, I do this because I care. So I want to help you succeed and be good. So thanks for being open to it and being good sports here as I grill you or tell you what you're doing wrong. Because if not now, then when? All right. Mr. or Mrs. YouTube channel subscribers 7x in 1 year. Oh, Arthur. Okay. All right. Yaros, tell me, how many subscribers does Arthur have if he's 7x'd? Yaros, if you're there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why it's an S. Sorry, I didn't understand.
That's
What was the question?
The question is, if Arthur's YouTube channel is 7x'd, how many users does he have?
Yeah, it's very unclear. I was looking at the question, so I'm thinking the same thing.
I don't know either, Arthur. So he could have gone from 1 and he's 7x to 7, or he had a million and he's 7x. So traction
they're
is really
doubling up.
important.
Yeah,
What was that?
I guess they're doubling up. They started with 0, then got 7, then got increased. 14.
Right. So thank you for that, Yara. So it's really important to talk about your traction in numbers. Okay. If you're going to do it. Yesterday, someone pitched to me, they said, we 2x our revenue. I'm like, what was your revenue? They're like $100. I'm like, okay, it's $200. They think 2x sounds good for the deck. It gets a meeting. And then once we're in the meeting, I'm like, why did you make things sound better than they were? Or why did you not tell the truth? So you want to come from a place of trust. You want to come from a place of honesty and authenticity. Okay. So Arthur, good job adding that in there now. When we talk about traction, traction is answering this one question, okay? What is the validation that you have that someone else wants this? So a waiting list, yes. Users, LOIs, yes. Steadily increase in user engagement, registration on platform for him, yes, but give me numbers. Detailed pilot programs as academic research labs, Nancy, great job. Number of subscribers, fantastic. Restaurateurs who created an account and are using the everyday app. So all of these things, revenue, waiting list, pilot. I'll even go one step further or earlier for you, especially for you early stage founders. Surveys even are a form of traction, okay? When we built Evolve, the world's first dating CRM, right? We interviewed 850 people. We said, hey, do you think dating apps are broken? And 80% of them said yes. We then built the product that they said they would like. That's traction. Investors poured money into us because of the team, but also the fact that people said that this needs to be solved. Okay. So traction can start all the way from waiting lists to surveys, to pilots, revenue, fundraise, and everything like that. But when you do talk about it really clearly in numbers. Let's look at another one here. 178 teachers applied, trained, and are developing marketing, the trainings for our site launch. Cool. That's pretty good. Good job. Last one. Amount of courses sold, template downloads. Yep, very good. So traction is really important. I don't know why, and I've been tweeting out about this recently if you've been following me along. Founders are leaving out traction in their pitch deck. That is absurd. It's okay if the revenue is non-existent. It's okay if the traction feels low to you. We just need to know that you're building something people want. Okay. So include it in there. Just have a slide that says traction and then talk about it. Or in the email, talk about your momentum and your progress to date. Really, really important. All right, we're up to the next second half and we're going to blaze through this faster because it's less engagement, more just teaching you how to think through these sections. So we're on the details page for growth. When you're talking about your marketing, you want to talk about in two different ways. Go to market is how you plan to launch or position in the market. When Uber first came out, they said, we are going to be the easiest way to get from A to B using a private driver. That's not marketing, that's go-to-market strategy, okay? Only now do they happen to be the fastest, the cheapest, the most safest, but their approach and position in the market was we're going to be the most convenient way to get there. So what does your company do? And how will you position it compared to existing? There's a company that I advise called Reza Footwear. They're a neon light lit up shoe that helps you run in the night. They position the market to be the Yeezy of sneakers, but with a safety and stylish element. Now you know where it's going to be on the shelf. Figure out how you're positioned in the market. Then you want to talk about your customer acquisition strategy. how do you plan on getting customers? Okay. I'm not asking, and investors don't want to see you just putting, we're going to run Facebook ads. That's not a strategy. That's a channel. Talk about, I'm going to run lookalike ads on Facebook with a budget of $100 a day. We're going to target highly saturated metropolitan cities. We're going to do a lookalike campaign, and we're also going to try that on Spotify. We're going to target people that listen to this music or this artist on Spotify. Strategy is different to channel. Don't get that wrong. Don't just put down email marketing. If you're doing sales and distribution, cool. Talk about it. Where are you going to do sales? Where's the distribution going to happen? Which exhibitions are you going to go to? Right? Talk about the strategy, not just the channels. Details. How will you make money? Is it through charging customers? Is it monthly recurring? Is it annual? Are you going to charge the vendor? Are you going to charge for delivery? Are you charging per download or monthly recurring revenue because of a subscription? Or is it all free and you sell through data and advertising? Figure it out. If you don't know how you're making money, there's a problem. If you have more than 3 ways of making money, you don't seem focused. You should have 1, maybe 2, because you're trying to figure it out. Remember, early stage startup building, you're just experimenting. Our goal is to launch a new social media app. We always want to make it free, but we're thinking whether we should charge through advertising, or we're wondering if we should charge through selling the data off. Okay, that's okay to still be figuring out, but don't not know how you make money yet. I love it when founders say, we're going to be giving it away for free. Cool, but figure out how it's going to make money later. Otherwise, it's just not, something's wrong. Okay, we want to know that you've thought it through. Sorry. All right, as we start with the closing, okay, don't disregard the competitors in this space. If your competitors are big, gigantic tech companies, mention them. If the companies are small, other little startups that are on this call, great, mention them. No one doesn't have any competition. It just looks very naive and like you haven't done your homework or that you're lying. Okay? Competition actually creates excitement for your space. And the other thing to keep in mind is don't mock your competition. Don't say Amazon has been doing a very bad job for the last 15 years and we're going to kill them. Amazon's done a great job, whether you like it or not. It just makes you sound naive if you say that. You can say what it is about them that you don't like, but you can't say they did a bad job. So never mock the competition, never disregard the competition. Lean into the fact that your competition has paved the way for you to build the next thing, right? Oops. Closing. Again, yes, we are talking about our team. Remind me how awesome you are. Remind me how cool you are to work with. Remind me why I'd sit in the back seat of a car driving from San Francisco to LA talking to you because I'm excited to connect with you, right? People invest in people, not businesses. It's really important to talk again about your team, mention any key advisors you've got, talk about the mentors and supporters, the investors that have backed you already, okay? If you have more advisors than employees, then I'll be worried. So be careful with that. How can 12 people tell 2 people which way to go? You're going to be going in 6 different directions, right? So talk about the team again, re-emphasize why you are so good at this and why you're going to win. Don't forget the ask. You have to ask or you won't get. Are you looking for funding or mentorship? Would you like a pilot? Are you looking for an introduction? Do you want to get endorsement or partnership? Okay. If you're making an ask for funding, then you ask. Here's how much money we're after. I don't ever request or recommend putting up the valuation because that alienates people. We can dig into that a little bit, but I don't want to make this a fundraising session. But if you're asking for funding, talk about how much you're going to want and maybe what you'll be spending it on. but the amount of pitch decks that I get that just forget to ask altogether is mind blowing. Either put it in the email that you sent or the last slide. What is your ask? We'll give you 60 seconds. Put it down. Give me a sentence in this case, okay? You can make up numbers if you want, but don't just write 2 words. I want you to give me the real example of what you really want to ask for as a founder who is on this journey right here. 60 seconds on the clock.
There we go.
Again, give me full sentences, okay? All right. Fantastic. All right. Can Saba review my storytelling too? Alejandra, always for you. $80,000 to develop an MVP with an R&D partner. And great, very clear ask. $3.8 million to fund phase 2 of our operations is expected build at phase. Brett, sweet, that makes sense. $500,000 to translate MVP to platform and complete 15 deployments. Okay, cool. This is good. Oh, introductions to tech startups with 15 to 50 employees and mentorship to expand team. So anyone want to yell out what the problem is with this ask here?
It's not specific enough.
Samad, yeah. Who was that? Yep, yell at it again.
It's not specific enough.
Well, I wouldn't use that. You're close. There's a better way to explain it.
They should, if they're asking for introductions, they should look through the person's like LinkedIn and identify who they're connected to and say, can you connect me to these 5 people who would fit this target demographic?
Not even that. No, it's not even that. I mean, yes, you should do that. But what I'm saying is this is 2 different asks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I would like a new car and a holiday. Wait, we're a car company. Like, why is it 2? Like, you want to make sure your ask is very clear. Make one ask. You could have 2 different sticky notes in this example, Arthur, but you want to make sure your ask is clear. Whenever I get on founder calls and office hours, people are often asking many things at the same time because they don't have focus. So now this is me raising more questions. Does he need, so he needs customers and he needs mentorship. And so I'm like, oh man, like how many stuff does this guy need? Right? So be very specific with your ask. Funding to next goal. This doesn't work, guys. This needs a number. Okay, cool. You need funding. Is it $50 or $5,000 or 5 million? So you have to be clear. Can you advise us for what we may need to be aware of? Assumption. I love that question. One of my favorite questions is to ask, what's something that I should have asked that I haven't asked already? A good job there. 250K demo art experience. So this is fantastic. So the ask is really important. If you fail everything, literally everything, yet you make the ask, at least I know what you want help with. Okay, so nail the landing and nail the ask. So that was our 12 slides of a pitch deck. Over the next 5 minutes, I want to go through and just look at a pitch deck that was presented to us earlier and just go through to see what is or isn't wrong with it. And this person has said they're willing to get roasted, and then we are going to answer questions. And then I want to share with you the pro tips that I promised you, okay? So workshop Wednesday, helping tech teams to work better together so they can build products that customers they love. Okay, so I know who it's for. I don't know where it is, and I don't know who's building it yet, but let's see what I get to learn here. Difficult to focus during IT studies. So it's difficult for me to focus during IT studies, or it's difficult for the founder. So there's a disconnect already between the slide and the second slide. Outdated approach, waterfall. I don't know what that means. So this deck already does not work by me reading it on my own. It's one of those decks that are designed where the person has to be talking you through it. That's a different pitch, okay? Your pitch deck has to be standalone, and there's a different version that you pitch, but this is not a standalone deck so far, but let's keep going. Lots of meetings, lots of assumptions. When we finally started the work, everything was different. Assumptions are wrong. Our data is our data. I knew, okay, this is a story. If this was a presentation, I would just put a photo of myself up and then talk through all of this. You don't need this much text. Fast forward today, almost 15 years later, I've coached hundreds of tech teams and see that old-fashioned, non-productive ways are stopping tech teams from doing the best. Okay, cool. Credibility of these logos, but I don't know what the relevance is. Did you work at these companies? Did they use you as clients? Do you just use ING Bank as a customer, as a bank? Like, describe what is happening here. Problem, many tech teams struggle to prioritize, test work. So I encourage everyone to use imagery wherever you can. It makes it easier to read, because right now, if you're looking at it the way I'm looking at it, there's a lot of text, right? Give me an icon of clock. Give me an icon of a hammer. Give me an icon of shaking hands, right? Just make it easier to read through images. It breaks it up a bit. Result, endless meetings, missed deadlines, wasted opportunity. Here is a solution: interactive courses and templates for tech teams. Learn faster how to build. So the solution is a website. Okay, that looks cool. I like it. Solution. Immersing. Okay, so this is kind of the same thing. So is the solution a website or the solution this? So my friend, we'll get you to respond back to this afterwards, okay? But again, a lot of text here. Launch products customers love faster. I, at this point, don't know exactly what you do still. You keep telling me the high level vague point of it, but I think it's really important to talk through the problem that you solve and how you do it. If I had to guess, if I try and yell it out loud, courses and templates, but I'm trying to understand how it's different from anyone else that does it. Maybe a demo would have been good. Like, just show me a screenshot of what it looks like. Like, oh, there, look, the screenshot's kind of hidden there. Maybe. So, okay. So I'm still kind of guessing here. The solution. Okay. Eventually we get a solution. YouTube videos. Breaking the ice. Why habit has changed. Okay. Lead with a demo. This makes a lot of sense. I love that. Templates. Goal of today. Cool. All right. The story's coming together for me now. This is a solution. These screenshots are tiny, so I'll put these on each page. And remember, all of this is less relevant because you're telling a story versus just showing me what it is that I want. Hold it up, right? Remember, I showed it to you before. Here's what I want. Market, not there. Business models. OKR, Scrum for startup, design sprint, hybrid team, retrospectives. I don't know what I'm looking at over here. A lot of different ways to make money. I guess these are the products. That's not a business model, they're products. So this is wrong. We will help other tech trainers and coaches to create courses using our platform. Okay. End of 2022. Aha, so the good old milestones. Is this is your goal or your milestone? So often when I see what I call the traction slide, people have a beautiful graph, right? They have a beautiful graph, and on the right, on the left side, over here, they have what their goals are, and then over here, over here they have the traction, over here they have the goals, and then I don't know in between where it went from goal to existing customers, and it's really important to define that. So this to me would actually be called goals, and I'll talk about the traction and how you're going to get there. I think it's really important to do it that way. Arthur, thanks for being a good sport and letting me roast this. I definitely want to see the video editor. I definitely want to see the growth hacker. It sounds like you're trying to hire these people, but I also don't know if you're saying that you didn't get the photo of these people yet. Just write it clearly, like in plain English, right? To be hired. Right, you're looking at this thing day in and day out, right? Don't let us guess it. There's so many things that are wrong with this here, but after giving through the feedback, I think there's a lot of opportunity to make it simpler to talk through what you're building, who it's for, what it looks like, why I should care, how many other people will care based on the market, how you make money, right? And then who your team is. Jair, that's it. Let's pause there on the pitch deck review and the pitch deck templates, and then I have one big slide to go. And after we answer some questions, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for that, Saba. Really helpful.
Do you want
You're welcome.
to quickly react, Arthur, on some things or ask for clarification?
No, it was really clear. I tried to build the storyline first before designing the slides. So with the feedback Saba gave me, that's super helpful. Like you said, sometimes you're too much in your own business that you don't explain it well enough to others. So I've taken extensive notes. So thank you so much, Saba.
You are welcome, of course.
Thank you for your courage as well, Arthur. Thanks.
No problem.
So before we wrap up, I would like to go to the questions that you have asked on the Miro board. And then after that, I would still want to share our upcoming event and some other information. So let me start from here. Hi, Saba. I have a question about the TAM, SAM, and SOM. How is it calculated? I mean, what assumption should be used, or is it a general assumption, or should it be more in detail on how we get these numbers?
Yeah. So the way I think about the TAM, SAM, and SOM is ignore those words altogether and just simply figure out how many people in the world or in the US or in your state you are going to be able to target. Okay. If you use plain English, it's going to be simple. When people look at TAM, which means total addressable market, and build it down to SAM and SOM, they get lost and they start talking about really vague, big, broad, billion-dollar numbers. And it doesn't help the investor, in my opinion, simply understand how important this is. All right, let's use my example again. How many people in the US are single, age 20 to 30, that live in highly saturated metropolitan cities, that have an iOS phone? Cool, right? You have a number, I have a number. Let's just say that number is 1 million. My total addressable market, SAM and SOM, means nothing compared to it. There's 1 million people that we can target. Just use that plain English. My goal is to charge, let's say $100 for the lifetime of that customer to 1 million people. That's how I'm going to make $100 million. So use plain, simple language in English to help people understand how big of a problem this is. Why is valuation not important in a pitch deck? What it does is, I'm not saying it's not important. The problem about it is that you might alienate investors. If you say in there, hey, we're valuing ourselves at $5 million, and they're typically only doing 4 million, you don't even get the phone call. When you're taking investment from people, it's rarely about the money and it's about the partner that you bring on. So you want to say that. Say, we need $250,000 to get us to the next milestone. We'll figure out the valuation on a phone call. We want to see what you can bring to the table. So it's really important to leave it out. Otherwise, you might shoot yourself in the foot. Let's just say you're thinking of getting 10 million, but I bring in Andreessen Horowitz and he wants to do 8 million. Are you going to say no to Andreessen Horowitz? Are you going to say no to SoftBank, Sequoia, or Techstars? I don't know, but the answer is you might as well not take yourself out from the start by just showing how much you want as opposed to trying to set up your own terms.
And then the next question, as a startup, is it better to rush and be first to market, or take it slow and build a well-designed platform before entering a competitive market?
Yeah. Facebook was like the 10th social media. Okay. Uber was the 3rd private driver. And these two are arguably the biggest in their space. I don't think you have to rush to be market. Your goal is to be the best in the market, not the first. Being first helps, but it doesn't mean you're going to win. So I would never tell anyone to rush anything. Yeah, don't wait 3 years when it's not the right trend, not the right market for it. But being first doesn't always help. It's about being solving the problem in the best way. Airbnb, same thing, right? They weren't the first at doing what they were doing, directly, indirectly maybe, but they are arguably the best at it now.
And then is the solution the same as the product, or the solution how you will solve the problem, and the product slide answers the what question?
Yeah, the word product, solution, they are synonymous. To me, they are just another way of explaining the same thing. So sometimes you don't have a product, but you have a service. So product or service can be the solution.
Okay, clear. If somebody wants to get his or her pitch deck roasted, is there a way that they can do so?
Not roasted, but we do this feedback. I've got a link that I can share. Where should I put it?
Just put it next to this question.
Perfect. Here,
Honestly.
if you go to that website here, my team and I will receive your pitch deck and we can review your pitch deck for you for sure. There's a tab, there's an option there for a review.
Awesome. And then we need to cut down on a pitch deck. What extra info do you see in a pitch deck that you rather skip? And I think that's a really common question. How to kill your own babies?
Choose 5 random slides and I bet you won't even notice the next day that you removed them. If your deck is more than 12 pages long, and I'm not saying it has to be 12, it could be 13, maybe 14. But if it's like 20 pages long, delete 5 pages and you realize you didn't need it. I can't tell you without looking at it. But the problem most likely is that you're trying to over-explain your product, trying to explain why this is important, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. So have the 5 core slides that I've shown to you, and then work your way back from there. Don't start at your 30-page deck and figure out what I need to keep. Just delete it all and start again.
All right. And then the next question, how long would you, as an investor, expect the founder to have thought out their product plan? Example given, if you think you have 10 features in the future, do you put that down or stick to top 3, the most impactful ones?
Less is more. Show that you've got a good, strong vision. And so it's really important for you to not talk about 10 different things that you might do in the future. Just cover it all under one grand vision. Again, Uber said, we'll get you from A to B. The grand vision was, we're going to be the transportation thing for everything. They didn't say food and medicine and stuff like that. And I'm making this part up, but the point is to just show focus for sure.
Right. And then should you include a list of references, articles used for any of the data at the end?
I don't know. In my experience, I've never clicked on anything to further qualify you. I believe it to be true if it's in the deck. I believe scientific or medical related businesses might need more of that because people will look into that, but I have not done that myself, no.
Interesting. Okay. If you're creating a next social media, how soon should you raise money if you have the option to bootstrap for a while?
No matter what you're doing, bootstrap as much as you can. No founder ever wishes they had raised more money. So bootstrap as long as you can for as much as you want.
Okay, we're halfway there. What level of detail should you go into for each of these? For example, in marketing strategy, should you just focus on the primary or most unique solution versus everything?
That's hard to answer. because I need to see it. But if you can define who your customer is and how you're going to find them and what evidence you have to show that they exist and will respond to that marketing, then it's fine. But don't try and talk about 6 different personas, 12 different strategies, and then make that 4 pages. Like my goal is to run Spotify ads to this audience based on this technique. Cool. So keep it simple. Again, early stage startup, you're not, everything you're saying and putting the deck early on is a guess.
Yeah.
We have to show that you've kind of thought it through a little bit.
Okay. Similar type of question about the competitors. How deep should you deep dive about your competitors in your slides?
So, I really dislike the X and Y axis grid where everyone else is in the bottom left and you're in the top right. So that kind of becomes unfair because you're obviously choosing the 2 things that make you good. Just do it in a logical way, right? Here's what we think we will be able to do better, or here are the features that we have that the others don't. And just, again, as the lesson has been today, use plain English to help explain that to people, right? Really important that you mention competition, but don't do a really crazy bad X and Y axis because we see through that. And then it just basically, it's like nulls it out by saying 0. Like imagine I said, me versus Steve Jobs, Australian and awesome in the top right, and American and boring in the bottom left-hand corner, and just putting him there. Like you can just make up your own narrative. So competition slide is important to just be really authentic and genuine about what other companies do well.
And then next question is, what are some examples of deal breakers you have seen in pitch decks that absolutely will not alienate an investor, that will that absolutely will alienate an investor?
In my opinion, 6 co-founders that all appear or are specified as being from the exact same background, gender, if there's lack of diversity, we want to see that it's not homogeneous, right? That you're bringing different perspectives from a gender and a race and an age and a background and experience level. Otherwise, it just feels like there's not enough opinion then. It feels like it's just one person and one view. Everyone is obviously different. So definitely want to see diversity. Deal breaker, anyone that comes in and says they want $1 million at $100 million valuation. So we can talk about that, but seeing that in deck is kind of like, okay, maybe you don't understand, or maybe I don't understand this and I can't help you there. And then something that's more than 20 slides. I've emailed founders back all the time when I've seen a slide deck of 37 pages saying, I'm not opening this. This is not how it's meant to be. This is too long. Please look at my template and we can talk further.
All right, cool. Saba, are we good to continue with more questions?
Yeah, we are. Just remember, I have one more slide to talk through the pro tips. Awesome.
Okay, we get there. I have heard that ideally you are supposed to have the deck down to 12 slides. That's also what you have, I think, recommended, but it seems to be difficult to put that information in such few slides without a text overload or being poorly designed. What is your advice here?
Remember, the goal of the pitch deck is to just get the next meeting. Your pitch, you're not getting money at the end of it, okay? Your goal is to progress to the next stage. The best pitch, in fact, is actually not a pitch at all. It's just a low intensity conversation between 2 people where you're talking about what you want to build and the other person is talking about how they want to put money into it, okay? Throw in a screen share. Sorry.
What do you mean with low intensity? Because in the beginning you were like high energy. What do you mean with the low intensity?
The ideal pitch is not a pitch at all. So I'm like, here's what I'm building. Would love to talk to you. And imagine there's not even a pitch deck to show. If you are on stage or you are doing a pitch presentation, then show energy and show excitement. But the best ones that get money are not those pitch presentations, but where you are just talking with one other person that you trust, that they trust you, and they want to see you build, right? Okay. Here's what I want to build. Here's how much money I need to have it built. So if it is really long, hold on, is that the one we're looking at? Yeah. If it is really long, then it means you're overstating it. You're saying too much information and you're thinking that you need a nail it in one meeting. There's usually an average of 4 meetings had before investment comes through. Now that you know that, don't try and squeeze it all in one.
Clear. Okay, that was the question. We still have 4 last questions. If you just have to cut it down to one slide, which is the most important one on your pitch deck?
Oh, that's really good. Well, one slide can't have, I mean, the ask. If you do nothing but the ask, then at least I know what you need. So the ask is really important. And then I'll say traction after that, of course.
Cool. And then what is the preferred order? Talking about the team or the problem first?
The guide that I provided, there's 2 things about it. Ignore the design, ignore the order. You tell your story however you want in a way that makes sense for people to follow, and that's important.
That's great advice. I think people will be happy to hear that. What about the technology? I see a lot of pitch decks having screenshots of their platform and explaining the technology. Is this an important slide?
In my opinion, from my experience, that is not important for the first meeting or the first pitch deck. We'll get into that later. And so talk about the benefits and not the features to start with.
Okay. And then the last one, how do you pitch an MVP when the big idea is a vastly different looking product?
Oh, I love it. So here's where we're talking about the traction and the progress, right? Like, do you, Alejandra, do you have the potential to build this? Is this an idea that has validation? Can I see you working on this 10 years from now and caring? And so I want to see an MVP, and it's okay. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just about, is the potential there for this to look good and be polished in the end. So we're investing in potential. We're investing in your previous experience, but mostly the potential and the progress that you've made and the validation that you have. And so, shitty looking MVPs are a great way of showing that you've learned, you've built, and you're doing stuff.
Awesome. All right. Thanks. And thanks everybody also for raising those questions.
Love it. Great questions.
Let's move over to the next slide, last slide of Saba, and then I will close it off. So yes, Saba.
All right. So last slide. These are bonus points for anyone that's like, you know what? I didn't actually learn enough today. So here we are. Start with a jaw dropper. Okay. Reminder. Say something like an incredible statistic that people didn't know. Wherever you can, weave in a story. Hi, when I was 14 years old, I realized this one thing. Here's why I'm going to tell you today about my company. Make me laugh. Use good body language, right? You don't want to be sitting there like a penguin with your hand by your side. Remove filler words as much as you can. If I said you're saying, that's bad. It's okay to have a stutter. In fact, I have one sometimes. But don't say and too much and like and so, because it makes you lose confidence and people reduce credibility of you. Teach me something new. The next thing I'm going to teach you, I want you to all practice on your next call. And I just did it. It's a pause. The pause adds so much drama because it makes people listen, because they're like, what did I miss? People lean in. So pause. That's why there's a gap there. The best founders know what to leave out of the deck. You want the investor after the meeting to go, wait, so tell me, how did X happen? Or how did you get Y customers? Know how to set people up to get them to talk about the things you want to talk about. The next one is my favorite. Speak in sound bites. Imagine you're writing tweets. Talk about things in statements in a way that someone can quote you. Right? It goes like 10 seconds. Always features over benefits. Nail the landing. It's really important that you close really strong and make an ask and leave the good last impression. If you've had fun today, I would love for you guys to follow me on Twitter. Right? That's my ask. And then the last things here on the right-hand side, practice, practice, practice. You have to memorize your pitch. You're going to say your pitch over 5,000 times for the life of your company. You have to memorize exactly how to talk about the business, whether it's 15 seconds, whether it's a 42 second or the 5-minute pitch, over time, don't read, learn to pause, and just keep it real. You want to keep A/B testing different versions. Sometimes start with a fact around the Sharks. Sometimes talk about the fact around how many students are in the US that don't speak English, whatever it might be. Figure out what works for you by practicing it with your friends and your family and so on. And then, of course, as we demonstrated today, there are decks for different situations. Okay, are you sending this in an email? Are you going to talk over it during a presentation, or are you going to be presenting to a group of people? Right? Figure it out, and you should have at least 5 decks, in my opinion. Thinking you can do everything with one deck means you're lazy. You want to have a different deck for every situation so you can absolutely nail it. Thank you. That's my Twitter link right there.